Review the Creedence Clearwater Revival album Pendulum. It was released in 1970, produced by John Fogerty. So this I would have got probably pretty early on when I was buying all their albums in 2020. I don't really remember the exact order I bought them in, but this one has a lot of tracks I wasn't familiar with on it, so I probably got it pretty early on. So this is kind of an interesting album. I guess most of the reviews I've read about it, they've tended to say that it's like weaker than Cosmo's Factory that came before, and but it's an interesting album because it's a really different, like, stylistically for them. I guess like the band at this point, they weren't getting along that well. This is Tom Fogerty's last album with the band. He would quit after this, and on the next album, Mardi Girl, they had the kind of famous thing where, you know, Fogerty says that the other band members made him put their songs on the album, and they say that he made them write songs to put on the album. So, you know, whoever's telling the truth there, you got like that whole thing happening. So this is also like the last album completely dominated by John Fogerty. It's also their only album without covers. And kind of in addition to that, they just really changed the sound on here. They still really sound like CCR, but they added a lot of extra instruments, which I'm pretty sure, like, mostly all John Fogerty. I think Stu Cook plays like some piano and stuff. But there's a lot of like organ from Fogerty and like saxophone and stuff. And so yeah, it's just a really different sounding album. I know the first time I listened to it, I was kind of just like, huh. Like none of the songs other than the ones I was already familiar with really grabbed me, and it kind of just like went by, and I was like, okay, I kind of see why people rate that a little bit lower than the ones that came before it. But I also kind of was like, I don't know, it kind of just, the sound of it was so different that I kind of wanted to go back to it, so I kept going back to this album more and more, and just the more I've gone back to it, the more I've liked it. So my opinion on it's changed a lot since the first time I heard it. So the opening track, Pagan Baby, wasn't one that I was into right away, pretty much like most of this album. But now I think it's a great opener. This album's also got kind of like I don't know, it's kind of more like jammy, I guess, than some of their albums on like a few songs. I don't know, this is going to be really weird trying to explain, but like it doesn't, not all the songs are like this, but like this one and the next one and like a few of them just kind of, they're a little bit like repetitive lyrically, and they kind of like seem to rely more on the band just kind of like jamming musically, and then kind of they have the little repetitive lyric part. And they do that like on a few songs on this album, which I think, like, to me makes the songs a little bit less memorable like the first time I hear them, and a little bit less catchy. But also, like, the more I listen to them, the more they just kind of like get in my head, and I really come to appreciate them. So this song's kind of that way. But it's just it's a really cool track. The band sounds great on it. They sound great on this whole album. Like I love the production on this, and just the way they're playing, and the way Fogerty's singing, and everything. But yeah, it's a great song. It's got a really cool like intro, and it's also cool kind of how it goes out too. Second track, Sailor's Lament. This one's got like this kind of like the first one, sort of repetitive like vocally and stuff, and it seems like they're kind of more just like jamming musically through it, and that's like more of its purpose than to be like a catchy vocal type of song. But yeah, one that, like, the first time I listened to this, I don't even think it like registered with me, but that's really grown on me and become probably my favorite song on the album, at least of the songs that I hadn't heard before. And I don't know, it's just a really cool song. I really like the instruments and stuff on it. It's when this one has Fogerty doing some of the saxophone stuff. I'm not usually like really huge on saxophone. I know like a lot of people seem to be. For me, I don't know, they're kind of hit or miss. I really like the use of it on this track though, and really on the rest of this album. So yeah, another just really great second track. Third track, Chameleon. This one, another one that's pretty repetitious, and took me pretty long time to get into this one, but now I really like it, especially Fogerty's vocal. But just, I don't know, something about like the style of songs that he's doing on this album took me a little bit longer to like warm up to, but once I like kind of got into them, I really got into them. Fourth track, Have You Ever Seen the Rain? This was the one I was most familiar with from this album, from the greatest hits. Was always one of my favorite tracks off of that. Still one of my favorites. I don't know if it's still my favorite on the album. It might be. I mean, I feel like right now I'd probably rather listen to Sailor's Lament, like given the choice between the two of them, but I've listened to this one a lot more, so that might be why. Fifth track, Wish I Could Hide Away. This one, it's a cool song. It's got like this really dark, creepy kind of sounding intro, and then that kind of goes throughout the whole song. It's just got this weird it's got a lot of like organ stuff in it. Just that like really like screamy organ sound. But I like it. It's not like the most like catchy thing, but I think that it's got a really cool atmosphere and some cool stuff going on. Sixth track, Born to Move. This one I really like a lot as well. It's got more of the like Fogerty doing that horn stuff that, like I said, horn stuff's usually like kind of hit and miss for me, but on this track I really like it. And it's got a cool guitar solo and cool organ solo at the end too that might, like, it does go on a little bit at the end. It's kind of like on its drawn out instrumental thing, but I like it. Might be a little long for some people though. Seventh track, Hate at Night. I also knew this from the Greatest Hits album. Not as well as like, can't remember which Rain. Have You Ever Seen the Rain? Can never remember which Rain song is which. But yeah, Hate at Night. Knew it. I wasn't super into it. For a long time when I had that Greatest Hits album, it was usually one that I would skip. But eventually, like, as I got tired of some of the other songs, I moved on to it, and now it's one that I really enjoy, and one of my favorites on this album. The eighth track, It's Just a Thought. Another kind of like slower. It's kind of, well, I don't want to say slow. Like, it's not really a slow song. It's not really like a soft song, but it's more almost, I get like a ballady type vibe from it. So yeah, it's a cool song though. Probably the one that like sticks in my head like the least from the album, but I really like it when it's on, so I'm not like saying anything bad about it by that. Then the ninth track, Melina. This one I remember not really liking the first couple times I listened to it, but now it's one that gotten really into it. I think it's a really good track. Got some more of that cool saxophone stuff going on, and yeah, just a really good track. The 10th and final one, Rude Awakening, number 2. This is a track that seems to get like universal like criticism from everybody that I've heard anything about or heard say anything about this album. I don't really hate it. I think that it's decent closer. As far as like the whole psychedelic instrumental type thing goes, I think this is one of the better ones. Yeah, this is what, like, I can't even remember when I said that this album was released. It's been a long day. 70. Yeah, 70, they might have been a little late to be doing this kind of psychedelic type stuff, I guess, but I don't know. I like it. I think it's better than like Revolution number 9 or something. Really, I think it's one of the cooler sounding, trippy instrumentals from like this time period. So, yeah, I definitely don't like hate that. As far as the bonus tracks on this version goes, there's not really anything that interesting. It basically has 2 more Rude Awakening number 2s, but worse, and a live version of Hate Tonight, which is cool. So yeah, Pendulum though, overall the album itself, I really enjoy this album. Took me a few times to like come around to it because not all the songs were like instantly catchy, but just the more and more I listen to it, it's just got these really cool like instrumental stuff going on, just these really kind of cool songs that just kind of groove, and I don't know, I just really like the direction they went in this album, and it's kind of a shame that that everything like started falling apart with the band and stuff, and that they couldn't like explore this kind of stuff more, because I feel like they were, I don't know, doing it really well. So this I don't know, this is an album that like I would recommend highly, and I think it's really good and really underrated. But like I said, I think that since it doesn't have a lot of the hits on it, and since it's such a different style for them, that it might not be one of the best ones to go to first. And I think it's probably going to be one of the more like divisive ones anyway, just because it's such a different sound. So yeah, but I definitely think that this is